What you are about to hear, my friend, is a history long buried beneath the sands, a tale whispered in the corners of forgotten tombs. You will not find Kurru's name in the scrolls of Kemet or the tablets of Babylon, for his history is older than ink, older than mortal memory. His is a story carved into the bones of the world itself, left to be found only by those who seek truths best left undisturbed. He was one of the god-kings who ruled the Nubian Empire 14 centuries before Christ. He and his fellows enjoyed hunting African animals and occasionally African shapeshifters from the knights of old. But that is only the beginning. Kurru was not born to rule. No, he was born in the mud, among warriors, among beasts. His people worshipped the gods of river and sky, the lion-headed deities that watched over the wilds. But Kurru? He did not bow to the gods. He was the god. In life he was a warlord, a hunter without equal, a man who could rip the heart from a lion's chest with his bare hands. His body was carved from the stone of the Nubian hills, his strength matched only by his rage. He did not fear spirits or men, for his word was law, his blade was judgment. And then, the night came for him. No one knows who embraced him. The records are silent on that matter. Perhaps it was an elder gangrel, one of those primeval creatures who had long since shed their human skins. Perhaps it was something worse, something older than even our kind. But one thing is certain. When Kurru awoke, he was not a man. Not anymore. For 300 years he ruled over Nubia, and his word was law. His people worshipped him not as a ruler but as a god. His followers built monuments to his name, temples of bone and ivory, altars where offerings were left, blood, beasts, men. His mastery over the beast was unparalleled. He did not just command the animals. He was the animals. They spoke to him in whispers only he could hear. The lions of the Nubian desert prowled at his command. The great bulls of the river knelt before him. Even the Nile crocodiles, those ancient lords of the waters, would not touch his skin. And what of men? They feared him, and they obeyed. Those who did not, their skulls paved the roads to his temples. But Kurru was no mindless tyrant. He was a ruler, yes, but a pragmatic one. He knew that order was the only thing that kept a kingdom from collapsing into dust, and so he built cities. He ensured the land flourished. But it was always his, and no one, no god, no spirit, no king would take it from him. But every kingdom has enemies, and Kurru's greatest foe slithered in the shadows, the Setites. To them, Kurru was a blasphemy, a relic of a world they sought to unmake. They whispered in the ears of his people, promising power, promising secrets, promising a world without Kurru. They called him a false god, a beast pretending at divinity. And Kurru, oh, Kurru hated them, not just because they sought to undo his rule, but because he saw them for what they were, corruption in flesh. The Setites did not fight as men do. They fought with ideas, with words, with poisons that worked not through the body, but through the soul. And so, the war began. For centuries, Kurru battled the children of Set. His warriors burned their temples, crushed their priests, tore their serpents from the sands, and fed them to the jackals. But the Setites do not fight fair. They whispered, they waited, they watched him grow complacent. And then one night Kurru vanished. No one saw him leave. No one heard his voice again. His temples were abandoned. His throne was empty. His people waited for his return, but he never came. And so the empire fell into ruin. Was he slain? Impossible. A man like Kurru does not simply die. Perhaps the Setites cursed him, bound him in shadow, trapped him beneath the sands in some forgotten tomb. Perhaps he saw the future, saw the world changing, saw that his kingdom would not survive. And so he left. Or perhaps, he found what he was looking for. You see, Kurru was not just a king, he was a hunter, and he always sought greater prey. What if he found it? What if, deep in the jungles beyond the deserts, beyond the lands where men tread, he found something older than the Sitites, something even he could not conquer? If that is the case, then one day, my friend, he will return, not as a king, not as a ruler, but as the beast that walks at the end of all things. We think history is made of men. It is not. It is made of monsters. And Kurru was one of the greatest. He walked as a god, ruled as a tyrant, hunted as a beast. His temples may have crumbled, his throne may be dust, but his name is not forgotten. And if you listen on certain nights, when the winds blow in from the south, you can still hear the echoes of his hunt.